Hello everyone, in this video we will learn what are promises, how you can create promise in JavaScript, then we will learn about resolve and reject callbacks. We will also discuss some internal properties of promise that you can use, and finally we will try to implement promises. So let's start with what are promises. So promises are special JavaScript object which can handle asynchronous operations in an easy way, just like callbacks which we used in earlier videos. So let's see the syntax for it. To create a promise object, you write new promise. Inside it, we will pass one function which is known as execute a function, which will take two parameters. First is resolve and second is reject. So both of these parameters are actually callback functions. So first callback function resolve, it is returned when asynchronous task has been completed, and reject callback is returned if suppose there is some error. So inside this you can perform any asynchronous task that you want to perform. Now let's discuss some internal properties of promise. So there are two properties. First is state and second is result. As you can see the picture down below, when promise is initially created, its state will be pending and it will be having undefined result. Now as soon as it completes its task, it will send you the resolve callback with some result. Then promise will be converted to fulfill state and we will be having some defined result. Now let's say if any error occurs, then it will try to send you the reject callback with some error, and then promise state will be rejected and result will be some error. Now let's see some methods on promise which you can execute. So first method is then method. You can also see the syntax written below. So this method is basically used for fetching all the results as well as errors from the promise. To use it, you just write promise.then. Inside it we will pass two functions. First will fetch the result and second one will fetch the error. Also note this thing down that both of these functions will not work simultaneously. Only one function will work at a time. There are some examples also. You can try this at your home also. So you can see the example. In this example, we have created a promise which is returning the resolve callback after 1 second. That means it is completing the task successfully. Now to catch the results, you can write promise.then. Inside it, you will pass two functions. First will be for fetching the result and second one will be for fetching the error. You can see the comment, it will only catch the result in this case because resolve callback is called. Now this is the another method which you can use, catch method. So how to use it, you can see the syntax. So catch method is basically used for catching all the errors from the promise. So it is returning the reject callback after 1 second. To catch it, you write promise.catch. Now last method which you can use is finally. So this is actually used for doing the cleanup operations in your code, and whatever you will perform inside this method, it will always execute. No matter your function is sending you the resolve or reject callback, it will always work. Okay. So now, till now we have discussed what are promises, how you can create a promise object, resolve and reject properties of promise. Now we will try to implement it. So this is our dynamic script file which we created in previous video. If you haven't watched it, please do watch it. So in this callback.js file, we tried to dynamically load that script file in our index.html file by using callbacks. Now we will change these callbacks and we will implement the promise. Let's see how we will do that. First, let's copy it and delete it. Now we will create promise object by writing new promise. Inside this, we will pass function with two parameters. So let's paste the code here and let's give some indentation to it. Also pass two parameters here. First is resolve and second is reject. Let's change the callback here. We will return here resolve whenever script is fully loaded with the script, and when some error is there in the script, we will try to return the reject callback with the same error that we have already mentioned. Also change the parameter. We don't need now callback, so change it. And let's save this file and also try to return the promise from this function, because later on we want to apply some methods on this function, on this promise. So let's call this promise. How would you do that? First, let's delete all this stuff and let's call this function which is returning us promise. So after calling this function, it is returning us promise. Let's apply some methods. You can do that by writing dot then. Inside it, you can pass the function with result parameter. Now you can perform anything. Right now I'm calling the hello function. Now for catching the error, you will write dot catch and then you can pass the function with error parameter. Now you can do anything with this error. I'm calling the handle function for this error. Let's save it and see whether it is working or not. So as you can see, we're getting error. That means our promise is successfully working. We're getting the error because we have provided the wrong file name. Let's correct it and let's see whether it is working now or not. So yes, it is working. We are able to call the hello function from the dynamic script. So in this way, you can create your own promise. Also try to practice the examples that I showed you earlier from the GitHub repo. I will also share that file in the description. So thank you for watching video. I hope you liked it. Thank you.